Hey Enzo, do you want to predict the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? This is my dog Enzo, and I thought it would be fun for the 2024 F1 season to teach him how to predict every race, and ultimately find out which of the two of us is, well, better at it. This week we're in Saudi Arabia for the second race of the year, at the Jeddah Corniche circuit, a high-speed and demanding track, though pretty sure the only thing this one cares about is that Corniche and chicken both begin with the letter C. Now if you're new here, you're probably wondering exactly how we're going to go about these predictions. Well, I've assigned each of the 20 drivers for the 2024 season to a separate little beanbag. I did try chunks of cheese, however they just all got eaten straight away. But each of these little beanbags does have an associated team colour along with the driver number to represent each individual. These are then arranged in a pyramid, with the bottom 6 drivers in the standings at the bottom, the top at the top, and you get the idea for the rest. Plus at the end we'll take a quick look at how last race's predictions panned out. So with all that stuff cleared up, let's get into the video. Starting off in 20th place and the drive with the not so glamorous title of being predicted last by Enzo is Pierre Gasly. I mean, the Alpines were bound to be down here somewhere, as it seems that even Enzo knows that things are really going wrong over at their team. Having qualified last race in 19th and 20th, only finished 17th and 18th, it's really not looking great for Alpine to start, and I guess Enzo really sees that with Gasly. Next up to be selected by Enzo is a driver from Stake Kick Sauber, seemingly not able to escape poor judgment from Enzo, as it's Valtteri Bottas, number 77, in P19. Valtteri didn't have the best of first races out in Bahrain, admittedly mostly not his fault, but then also kind of a little bit his fault. Crashing at turn 1 did break his front wing, and then the team, well, forgot how to change a tyre. In Saudi Arabia he'll be hoping for a much better race, however Enzo really doesn't see it happening. On to 18th, and it seems that Enzo is continuing that trend of drivers who really didn't have a good first race, as the third driver to be selected is Logan Sargent in the Williams, P18. For Logan, he would have been hoping for a good opening round. He didn't get it. Locking up when he went to turn 4 and then having his car just switch off on him really wasn't the best start to his season, especially considering last year didn't go great and he'll really be needing to improve this year. Maybe it'll go better for him in the second round of the year, but not according to Enzo. 17th place now, and it seems that Enzo's going for one of the two RB drivers, a team that disappointed a bit in the first race and provided a lot of drama after it, as the first of their two drivers selected in 17th place is Yuki Tsunoda. It must be said that in Bahrain, Yuki didn't provide a ton of action during the race. After the race, however, well, he didn't hold back, dive-bombing Daniel Ricciardo, almost hitting him when he came back on the track, and just generally getting angry at the team. Admittedly, I can understand why he got angry. Being asked in race 1 to swap places with Ricciardo with no points on offer, yeah, it's pretty clear who their favourite is, and in this one it seems that Ricciardo is also Enzo's favourite. In 16th place, and we didn't have to wait long for the second of Team RB to be picked, as P16 goes to Daniel Ricciardo. While it seems that Daniel may be Enzo's favourite when it comes to him and Yuki, it's clearly not by much, and he's clearly not expecting too much for this second race. P16 has got to go down as a disappointment for the team, especially considering all of those Red Bull components they've supposedly now got in their car. They'd be hoping to be much higher than this. On to P15, and we have what I would say is our first shock of the video, as after a disappointing round 1, it's an even more disappointing race 2 for Fernando Alonso, at least according to Enzo anyway. Fernando Alonso's Bahrain Grand Prix consisted of being overtaken by Lando Norris, then Oscar Piastri, then Lewis Hamilton. However, Fernando will be hoping that that second race really does give him some momentum. I mean, by the looks of things, Aston Martin kind of need it. In 14th place, and it's back-to-back shock picks from Enzo, as it looks like he's headed right to the top of the pyramid, picking up one of the two Red Bull drivers, as it's Sergio Perez in 14th place for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I think after predicting Perez low last time, Enzo may just not like him. However, based off his form last race, going from 5th to 2nd and looking fairly comfortable, I feel like without an incident this P13 slot is going to be a bit tricky to slot Sergio into. But hey, I mean Enzo does know best. P13 now, and it seems that after last race being predicted up in P6, it's a bit of a fall from grace and Enzo has come to his senses, putting Nico Hülkenberg and the Haas in 13th. Last time out, Enzo predicted him in 6th, and to be fair, qualifying in 10th wasn't too far away. The race for Nico, well, that's another story. Dropping down the field, contact on lap 1, having a pretty disastrous opening round in general, especially considering how high up he started. Into 12th, and we go from things that are slightly unrealistic to one that seems, well, incredibly unrealistic, as it's the second Alpine of Esteban Ocon that Enzo's placing in P12. P12 last year for Alpine would have seemed absolutely where they would be. This year, however, really not the case. Their car looks slow, their team is a mess, and overall it's just a bit of a shambles. I guess at least Enzo has some faith in the team. On to P11 and the final slot in this back half of the grid, as finishing a little bit lower down the order than he'd probably like, it's Oscar Piastri, number 81, that Enzo's put here in 11th. Considering in the first race he finished in 8th place, P11 isn't too far away, but then considering the pace of the cars that we saw in Bahrain, P11 would be really disappointing for Piastri. Into the top 10, and someone who actually finished relatively close to this position last time out in Bahrain, 12th place there and 10th place here in Enzo's predictions, it's Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. For Kevin in round 1, he had a pretty good race. As I mentioned with Hülkenberg, nobody expected anything from the Haas, and well, they had something. Enzo's given him his first point of the year and what would be the first point for one of the bottom 5 teams. On to 9th, and it appears that Enzo's heading more towards the left side of the triangle now, as he's picking up what looks to be a blue bag. Yep, it's Alex Albon in the Williams. Now, Williams didn't have the best of opening races. Obviously, Logan Sargent spent a lot of time just chilling on the outside of turn 4, and for Alex Albon, we got to see that new steering wheel in action, telling him his car was too hot. Not exactly what you want in the first race. Into 8th place now, and we head to one of the stars from the opening round, someone who's performing much better than at least I expected. It's Zhou Guanyu in the Sauber to finish 8th. If you said to me at the start of the year, would I have put one of the Saubers in 8th place, I'd have said absolutely not. If you asked me after the first race of the year, could I see a Sauber in 8th place, I'd say probably yeah. It might take a DNF or two from the rest of the grid, but to be honest, considering Zhou was in that best of the rest position in Bahrain, P8 isn't too far of a stretch. On to 7th place now, and again we're sticking with drivers who did much better than expected in the first round of the season, as Enzo's going for one of the Aston Martins, and it's Lance Stroll to finish in 7th place for Saudi Arabia. Like Zhou, I really didn't expect much from Stroll in the opening round, and to be honest I don't think anyone did. However, after being spun on the opening corner at the opening lap, ending up at the back of the pack and fighting his way back through to only finish behind his teammate Fernando Alonso, it was a really good first race. In 6th place then, and it seems we've got 2 Mercedes drivers on the card, and the one that Enzo's picking here is number 44 Lewis Hamilton in P6. Put simply, the opening round of the season for Mercedes, well, it could have gone better. From virtually no battery power to broken seats, it really wasn't the ideal first race for Lewis Hamilton, not to mention the fact that he qualified down in P9, just 1 place above Nico Hülkenberg. On to 5th place then, and it seems Enzo's wasting no time in getting the Mercedes drivers out of the way, as his P5 goes to the other one, number 63, George Russell. George Russell had a pretty good opening race in Bahrain. He made some overtakes, did also get overtaken, but when he had his car at full performance, he did look to be driving fairly well. He also qualified well, up in 3rd place, and so this P5 position, when all things level out, I could actually see happening. Into 4th place then, and it seems the red bag is being chosen by Enzo as he's gone for number 16, Charles Leclerc, to finish 4th. Round 1 in Bahrain was a bit of a strange one for Charles. It was disastrous to start off with and then got slightly better towards the end. 2 consecutive 4th places for Leclerc is something I could definitely see happening, and apparently Enzo can too. Onto the podium places now, 2 drivers that already have one this year and 1 driver that doesn't, and it looks like it's going to be Lando Norris filling that 3rd step of the podium. I mean, he wasn't going to go for a Lando win now, was he? Final 2 then, and if you're a human, there's one very easy choice. Enzo is not a human, however, and so his 2nd place goes to Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. I'll put it this way, I'm just pretty glad I'm not making any actual bets off these predictions, because this is one where I think we all know Enzo's probably wrong. That of course leaves 1 driver left to be selected, and the only beanbag left to go, number 55 Carlos Sainz taking the race win. To be fair to Enzo, Sainz was the only non-Red Bull driver getting a win last year, and so if someone were to take the first win away from Red Bull and Verstappen, I could definitely see it being Carlos. So there you have it then, here are Enzo's predictions for the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I've put mine alongside as well on the right so you can compare what we both think is going to happen. Then as promised, we have the recap from Bahrain, Enzo's predictions on the left, mine on the right, and the final racing order in the middle. The way this works is we get 3 points if we get one correct, 2 points for 1 space away, and 1 point for 2 spaces away. But anyway, that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this series, and if you are, do make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Get yourself subscribed to the channel as well for all sorts of other content. It's not all just dog predictions. But until next time, take care.